For more on the fire situation in the territory, we are joined once again by Ollie Williams, the editor of Cabin Radio, who joins us from Yellowknife. Ollie, thanks so much for joining us here again. Now, there's been some major developments overnight. Can you bring us up to speed on sort of what's happened over the past 24 hours or so?
Sure, Daryl. So there's a couple of different things happening. I'm going to start south of Great Slave Lake with Hay River and Fort Smith. Neither of those communities saw the fires get there overnight. That's the good news. There was a little bit of rain, but the mayor of Hay River is saying there's still about 500 people out of a town of 3,000 who haven't left yet. And she's incredibly worried because they've only got air access out right now, and there's no communication still in the town, so you have to go door to door. So they're doing everything they can to get people out. The town of Fort Smith, everyone was safe this morning, but still the fire is right on their doorstep, and they're hoping that the weather keeps it there. It's really down to the weather right now. Here in Yellowknife, we've moved to a state of emergency locally from yesterday evening, which doesn't mean an evacuation notice or an alert or an order, but it does mean the city can now commandeer the contractors or the tools that it needs to build more fire breaks. And we've just heard in the last few hours that the wildfire west of the city is now about 20 kilometers away. It's moved 7 kilometers closer in the past day. And N.W.T. Fire says there's rising risk to the community.
Well, certainly plenty of developments over there, and we're also starting to see, Ollie, some of the images coming out of Enterprise, which we talked about yesterday, the small community in the N.W.T. What are you hearing about the damage there and elsewhere?
The mayor of Enterprise this morning said he's putting it at 90% destroyed. I've seen other people use, say, 75%, 80%. I don't think it necessarily matters what figure you use at that point. Most of that community has burned. It's an incredible tragedy for the community of Enterprise. It's a very small community, Daryl. You're only looking at 40, 50 people, maybe a few more than that. It's essentially a stop on the highway for a lot of people, but it's a really tight-knit community that were really proud of themselves and had a lot of meaning. So it's a devastating blow for them, and we're certainly hoping that they're going to find a way to come back from that. But the whole community is evacuated, and it looks as though there's not much of Enterprise left.
That's too bad to hear. And Ollie, the military is also there. Are there any signs of relief on the wildfire situation in the coming days, or is there a concern things may get worse still?
I think there's definitely a concern that we're not necessarily yet on the upswing, if you like, Daryl. Certainly Fort Smith and Hay River in the south, like a lot of people have left and have made it to safety, but there is still grave concern for what might happen if the fires make it just a few extra kilometers to the edges of those communities. They're really not far away at all. They're in a lot of jeopardy. In Yellowknife, we're not at the evacuation notice point yet. There's also the discussion, Daryl, of where would Yellowknife go and how would you do it? The fire is approaching from the direction of the one highway south. And you're talking 20,000 people. Yeah, we have an airport, but are we going to airlift 20,000 people? The city's plan up to this point has been to shelter in place and to move people, if they absolutely had to parts of the city that were less threatened. We don't yet know precisely how that plan might roll out, and we're not there yet. It's really important for me to stress that, but there's certainly a lot of concern in the city right now about what's going to happen with this wildfire. And as you say, the military are out there today with contractors, with firefighters, building fire breaks, and just getting Yellowknife as prepared as it can be.
Yeah, Ollie, we'll certainly keep an eye on all of these updates, and our best certainly goes out to everyone affected by these wildfires. We'll have to leave it there. Ollie, thanks so much for giving us an update here.
Thank you, Darren.